Coverage of the Detroit Grand Prix is brought to you by the members of the DL 500 Club. Click the link in the description and join today. Well, welcome to sunny and scenic Detroit. This is May, but this is IndyCar racing and IMSA this weekend. Got to mention IMSA, and yeah, we're in Michigan, but I don't mind that. This is actually technically the home state for me. I was born here. I was born in Battle Creek, so if you ever wondered where your cornflakes come from, well, they come from the same place that I do, Battle Creek, Michigan. Lots of things to talk about in this video. We're going to update where the state of IndyCar, post-Indy 500. We're going to talk IMSA, which is going to be a lot of fun, and specifically the IMSA connection to the Indianapolis 500. Yes, we will be cleaning up the Indy 500 as well. Got to talk to a lot of drivers at the bullpen today, and wanted to, since I hadn't spoken to them since the 500, I thought it was only fitting that we get their thoughts and feelings on their 500, the most important race of the season. And of course, Kyle Larson. Still hasn't gotten the waiver, and we have a few updates on that, and I'll give a few more thoughts about that because it's ridiculous that that's still a thing that we're talking about, but here we are. There was only one IndyCar session today, as is usual, and it was one of those sessions where I wasn't sure exactly when it ended. I might have walked out to the parking lot like 20 minutes earlier than I was supposed to film this video, but we have the results here, and I can take a look at them. And we're going to look at the Fast 6, but we're also going to talk about the Fast 7 for a very specific reason. Alex Palou picks up where he left off last year. Alex Palou was on the pole position and won the Detroit Grand Prix. Pato O'Ward picks up where he left off at the Indy 500, finishing second in practice. He finished second, of course, in the Indy 500. And you'll hear from Colton Herta later on in this video about his crash at the Indy 500 and what he thinks happened. But, of course, Colton Herta, third today, looking to rebound from that. Still good in the point standings. Kyle Kirkwood got limited running in today in practice, but still put it fourth on the board. Scotty McLaughlin in fifth place in the Gallagher entry. And Joseph Newgarden, the Indy 500 winner, twice in a row, is sixth at Detroit in his defense of his Indy 500 title. But I should mention seventh, that you don't see on the board, is Santino Ferrucci. And Ferrucci has been essentially told us that he threw everything out, and the new Penske partnership appears to be working for him.
We took nothing. Let me be straight up clear with that. We took nothing from last year to this year. We are straight relying on the alliance. And as a driver, yeah, it was honestly, it was so rough. I just kind of forgot about last year, and I just think back, oh yeah, Belle Isle, yeah, it was good. Looking forward to Detroit. No, I do know that I did not want to be on the same pit box side as I was last year. That's for sure. I'm on the other side of the island now, which would be great. But yeah, no, it's a complete reset for me. New weekend, new car, new everything. So we'll see what this gives us. Have high hopes considering St. Pete, Long Beach. We were kind of a little out of the window, but that happens, and yeah, we'll see what we can do.
Well, you mentioned the alliance, so I guess so there was so much talk about the alliance going one way at Indy. You're, I'm sure, hoping that the alliance flows a different way this week. I mean, what can you bring? I mean, so you're totally on a Penske setup then for this race. I mean, just kind of describe that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, some of our engineers, my engineer and race engineer, Jane Schnabel, he's from Penske. Our race engineer on the 41 car, Mike Armbruster, is from Rahal. Obviously, Rahal was not sparkly here last year. We were not sparkly here last year, without a doubt. So we were like, oh, our jobs are easy this weekend. We'll just copy-paste. So, yeah, so it's big. This is where we really rely on them. It's tracks like this to where we just had no clue what was going on. It's different when we get to Road America next weekend, man. We were good at Road America, so we kind of do what we were doing there. I felt good, and that's where it's a little different for the way the alliance works, but we fully lean on those guys this weekend. So
there's a few changes you need to know about if you were paying attention to IndyCar racing only for the Indy 500 or even before Detroit. Teddy Porkchops, Théo Pourchaire, the French-born driver for McLaren, will be in the number 6 car for the rest of the season. Callum Ilott drove the car at the Indy 500, but he's not expected to return. Teddy Porkchops, Théo Pourchaire, will drive the remainder of the season. Tristan Vautier returns to Dale Coyne Racing for the first time since 2015. In fact, his first IndyCar start since 2014 here on the streets of Detroit. Why? I have no idea. He didn't come to the bullpen, didn't explain himself. He joins Jack Harvey, who's in the 18 car for the first time since the Indy GP. But Jack Harvey replaces, quote-unquote, Nolan Siegel. who this weekend returns to his regular duties driving for HMD Motorsports in the Indy Next by Firestone series. But the important, biggest story today, and really breaking this week on Wednesday, was that Tom Blomqvist has been benched by Meyer Shank Racing. Now, the original press release stated that he is still a part of the team. Mike Shank made that pretty clear in the press release, but Helio Castroneves, at least for the next 2 races, Detroit and Road America, will be driving the 66 car, and then I believe, from everything I've heard, that Tom Blomqvist will not drive IndyCar the rest of the year. Potentially will end up in sports cars for Mike Shank next year, but you have to think that that car will be a tryout car, much like it was last year after the injury of Simon Pagenaud. Helio Castroneves will drive the number 66 car in Detroit and later on at Road America. There's a couple of reasons for that. The most important one is that the car needs to stay in the leader circle money, but also the fact that you don't want to make the sponsors unhappy. And I think that performance does matter. Performance definitely in the Indianapolis 500 matters. So the fact that Helio can also smooth out some of those relationships makes a lot of sense. The Indy 500, interesting that I would mention that. I haven't gotten an opportunity to speak to a whole lot of drivers after the Indy 500, so I've used this opportunity to almost do a post-race show of sorts. Here's what a lot of the drivers at the bullpen today talked about their Indy 500.
Yeah, I think, the whole month of May is always full of ups and downs. I would say the difference for us was that it wasn't really a fighting for the top 12 as a group or fighting for the pole, which, I think for probably the last 4 or 5 years, that's been definitely a staple for us. So that was disappointing, but honestly, just the way it goes. The race itself was kind of mixed as well. We had lots of, ups and downs. Initial start was really good. Then we kind of got pinched on another restart and, a few different things like that. But strategy-wise, I think worked out really well. I think we would have had more of a fighting chance had it not had the 12 car crashing. Just because I think the Chevys would have been tight on fuel. So it would have been definitely a battle that we maybe could have been involved in, but at the end we just purely didn't have the speed, man. So that was frustrating. We were flat out just trying to keep up.
It was a surprise, I think, but at the same time not so much. You said it. We had a great car. After qualifying, I was pretty disappointed with qualifying 23rd. I thought we could have been way further up in the field than that, and especially with my teammate being in the Fast Six. That was something to really be proud of. I think it's a team, and I think I could have been there with him. And I honestly think that we showed up at the race with a better car than he did. So to be able to run at the front was great. Even though we got promoted there as a caution, we still proved we could hang. So, we led 4 different times for 23 laps, and that's nothing to be disappointed about. So I think if the strategy had gone just a little bit differently at the end of the race, we would have been fighting for that front spot, but it was a blast. I loved it.
Yeah, it's one, make history, sick. 2, a little bummed that we weren't back in the top 5 again, fighting. It was really tough. We had a really struggle bus of a month, to say the least. A lot of things go wrong, a lot of issues. Didn't get a lot of track time. Our carb day was not what anyone would have ever hoped to have for carb day. But through all of that, we, managed to pull through and do well. We were up front for the first half of the race without any issues. We had such a great pit stop, kind of due to my fault. I slid a little long. Then, I just couldn't find the balance on that set of tires. So we fell back a little bit, and then with no more yellows, tough to catch back up.
You could call it character building, a character building month. But it was really tough, obviously. We did, I think, really good preparations. We had a good car in practice until the crash, and then, the crash you don't want to crash during the month of May because it really sets you back. And from then on, it was a real uphill battle. And I am proud of the team, the way we battled through it and really was fighting our way into the race, that qualifying drama that we were part of. And then, improving that car during the week leading up to the race. And I actually felt Carb Day was the first session where we really felt competitive, really felt strong. We had good speeds and we were excited going into the race. And then, it all ends before it even starts. So it was tough month, yeah.
Yeah, I've gone through everything. So up until that point, it was great. We seemed like one of the few guys that could pass when we wanted to. I felt very strong compared to the competitors in the corners. So once it happened, it's still not very clear after going through everything. The speed was lower, the steering was similar. There was, by the pitot tubes and the weather detection system, there's no kind of change in wind. The following gap was further away. So it's 3 miles an hour slower than I'd been going through there the last 5 laps before when I was running second. So we've gone through basically all the laps before when I was running second place and seeing what's different, and nothing really stands out. And so it's very, very strange one. The line is fairly similar. The only thing that's different to some of the laps is it's a little bit of a later turn-in, but it didn't break until mid-corner. And to counteract that, there was 2 laps where I turned in even later a few laps before, so it's a weird one. This is the first time in my career that I've had a crash where it wasn't like, yeah, I know what happened.
Sure.
And even after looking at data, usually when you crash a car, you're like, yeah, I broke in way too late, or I rolled too much speed in here, or whatnot. And for me, it's just not clear, which is almost as disappointing as the crash. Because it's a way to kind of understand and make yourself better, right? When you don't understand it, it sucks, and it sucks for everybody involved. So it was very disappointing.
Yeah, we struggled a lot with balance. It's just a tough day all around. Just all around a tough day for us.
What was
Yeah.
different between your car and the other Penske's?
Yeah, I just didn't have enough front. I should have started with more front wing in it, and just it's one of those things, man. Some days it just doesn't flow well for you, and that was one of those for me. I should have done a better job, though, of, we could have done a better strategy. We could have sort of changed, we could have taken that yellow that Dixon took. I think that would have helped us finish up a bit further, but yeah, just some days, man, it just doesn't roll for you.
Month of May overall was good. 500 qualifying and race was tough. I mean, we lacked some speed, especially compared to last year's. So I've always had more speed than what I had this year. So obviously it was the toughest month of May that we had. But having that said, I think as we started the month of May and as we finished, I'm pretty happy. We started like slow, and we started picking up some speed, started being more comfortable with the car as well. So at the end, I was happy we were able to fight. I mean, we didn't finish 5th because of strategy. We actually overtook some cars on track. We didn't really have everything we needed to try and get to the top 2, top 3 to fight for the end. But, I mean, there was better drivers and better cars out there than us. So it was good.
And of course, we didn't get to talk to Joseph Newgarden. He wasn't at the bullpen today, but we did get to talk to his race strategist from the Indy 500, and that's Jonathan Duguid, who now is back at the Penske Porsche program and has a very unique opportunity. While A.J. Foyt as a driver won Le Mans and the Indy 500 in the same year, now Jonathan Duguid can do the same with the Penske Porsche program, as well as strategizing for Newgarden last Sunday. Jonathan Duguid, wearing a different shirt this weekend, but let's talk quickly about last weekend. You are an Indianapolis 500 champion. Tell us about the race and what you and the race you called for Joseph Newgarden.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, David, it's kind of doesn't feel real, to be honest, even nearly a week later. But I saw a bunch of the IndyCar people here this weekend and walked through the tent. Everybody's still giving each other high fives. So I think it'll something that. There'll be momentum that hopefully that group can carry on throughout the season, and we're going to try to carry it into Le Mans as well.
Yes, IMSA is in town this week as well. We'll have coverage of the Detroit Grand Prix for the IMSA cars tomorrow when they actually run the race. They're about to qualify here in a couple of minutes, at least while I'm recording this. It's the full season cars, so a few of the endurance cars have not shown up from the 2 pro categories. The Lamborghini is not here. However, it's a great prototype field. The 4 Porsche 963s, the 2 Penske's, and the 2 private cars. You've got the 2 BMWs, the 2 Acuras, and the 2 Cadillac cars. So good field and prototype, and then of course GTD Pro, good as always. There's actually a private Ferrari entered by Conquest Racing, which was a bit of a surprise to me. Again, I've kind of been checked out of the sports car scene for the last month, but it was neat to see. It's neat to see a Ferrari in the top class, and of course, everybody's hyping up the fact that Mustang and Corvette are doing battle in the pro category, but. Should be a fun race tomorrow. Looking forward to seeing what happens in the IMSA world and looking forward to continuing to cover that series. The big thing, I guess, we'll continue to follow up on is the Kyle Larson, will he or won't he get a waiver thing. And there was a couple of great reports from Jenna Fryer on Twitter yesterday. I'll read the tweets here. Hello, this is Editing David here. I am sitting in my hotel room because the mic decided right before I finished filming my video to stop recording. So here I am in the hotel room. Welcome. Look at how nice the drapes are. But just going to read a couple of tweets here because it's an update on the Kyle Larson situation. Jenna Fryer confirmed with Hendrick Motorsports that they had requested a waiver from NASCAR, and then very quickly afterwards confirmed that NASCAR had received the request from Larson Hendrick Motorsports, but they said no timeline on when the decision would be made, which prompted Jeff Gluck to look up some of the previous waivers and when they had been chosen upon or decided upon. And this is all from Bob Pockris. And Eric Jones' injury was announced April 23rd, and the waiver was granted the 23rd, the same day. Elliott's suspension was announced on May 30th, and the waiver was granted on June 1st. So there's your perfect side by side. And the Bowman injury was announced September 29th, and the waiver was granted the same day. Kyle Larson, they've applied for the waiver. Where's the decision? If NASCAR doesn't do this, it's a joke. But I don't know. IMSA tomorrow, IndyCar on Sunday. Coverage of the Detroit Grand Prix will continue, just hopefully not from my hotel room. We'll see you in the next video.